In a week of wrestling that was filled with controversy, SmackDown decided to treat us with a rather inoffensive edition of the Blue Brand as Bianca Belair decided to get the key to the city and something else from the man. And we can talk about that and more as we get into another edition of this Smack Attack. My name's James McIver alongside my partner in crime, John Enright. Sunday night edition, or Sunday brunch edition if you're in America. Sunday fun day, as I like to call it.
Not brunch, dude. It's like 3 in the afternoon, dude.
Oh man. Well, there's no wrong time for brunch. Let's be fair. Like,
what does it say in Parks and Rec? Like people who don't eat breakfast food, what's wrong with them? You know? Yeah.
Because what's the Lord of the Rings? It's like breakfast, then second breakfast, then elevenses, then lunch, then brunch, then lunch, then your afternoon tea, then a snack, then your dinner. I feel like we're in sort of afternoon tea. That's all right. The afternoon tea edition as well. I wish I had like a cup of tea and some cakes now.
the second half of the afternoon games of the NFL have kicked off. So I think Dallas is playing Los Angeles, the Chargers, and I forget who else is playing right now. But so
we get like a game. So we get one. We get the early kickoff, then we get the next kickoff, and then we get the end of the kickoff. So we get 3 games on a Sunday, and we get Monday night and Thursday night. Yeah. So
you get like what we do. We do. I mean, because we get, like first games usually start around 11 or noon. Like, here at Central Time, about 11ish. Here.
Yeah. So that'd be.
And then the next one kicks off around 3:30 or so. And then you got Sunday night football, and then Monday night football. So. Yeah,
Monday night football. I can't really stay up for Monday night football because it's a school night for me. So it's hard to justify, especially if the game's rubbish.
What time?
1 a.m. It's 12 o'clock, 1 a.m. sort of time over this way. So it's like it's awfully late. So it's like, oh man, I can't. If the game's rubbish as well, I cannot justify staying up till like 4
that's what Monday nights become. It's become the trash games.
Yeah, so I don't really bother with it. But again, it doesn't matter if you're Raw. Trash games are better than Raw. But I should stop digging on Raw. I'm bad for it. But I was going to say, I stay up for the Super Bowl. I'll stay up for the Super Bowl. I'll watch that until I'm physically unable to stay awake for it. But I'll do my best. I think if I get to the halftime show and past that, anything from there is a bonus for me. Especially once I know the results done and dusted. Like this year's one, I was like, right, I know where this is going. My body decided, right, you know where this is going. I'm just going to shut down for you. And I just zonked. And then I woke up at like 8 in the morning, face first on the couch. Like, whoa, what was the score? I was like, oh yeah, it was how it was when I left it. Yeah. So if it's a total like done dusted deal, not like the Patriots and the Falcons that year where it was like a massive turnaround.
Right.
Like, that got me back up and running on that day. That was a fun game.
Yeah.
But you guys could do cup. You guys do cup finals good though. You do.
Yeah.
I'll give you your dues. Like I love a cup final, but there's something about the Super Bowl and the occasion that goes around it. You've got the halftime show. You get someone in to sing the national anthem. We usually get Katherine Jenkins in to do it here for the UK. Not that she's a bad singer by any stretch, but it's hardly Lady Gaga.
Yeah. I mean, we probably have a little bit bigger pool to pull from than than you guys. But that's the one thing about the NFL you have to say is, especially in the last probably 10 years, is the pageantry they put around it, really makes it. I mean, to where the people are watching the pregame, and they're watching America the Beautiful, and they're getting sung. They're watching which isn't even the national anthem. They're just they have all these other things that they're doing to promote it, the pregame show and the pregame show and the
they go whole hog.
It is all day long, man. And then you get of course the halftime show, which is all the talk. And and I mean, you just hope the game lives up to the hype of everything else surrounding it,
Yeah.
And of course you get the commercials. That's like, that's the thing about it.
That's like 90% of the game.
Right. Which is crazy because you think about it, this is an event that any person can watch. If you don't like football, you watch for the commercials or the performances. If you don't like the performances, you just watch for the football. I mean, It's a brilliant move on
works for everybody, and it's a gathering thing as well. Like over this way, it's not so much. You can get like Super Bowl parties, you can book in at like pubs and stuff, but you don't really get it as much. But over there, it's like it's a full like get together day. Everyone gets together for the Super Bowl. Like you'll be out and about, people's houses are filled. It's class. Like that's what you want from a cup final.
Tell me this is not the most Texan thing ever. So my kid used to go to a private school here in Texas, in North Texas, and they would take the Monday after the Super Bowl off because it was like, you know, hey, we know that you've been doing Super Bowl stuff, so you're getting the next day off. Like we would literally get, and they would call it like some staff development day or some whatever. Oh,
fun day. Congratulations, IBV. You're the first comment of the day.
Yeah.
Well done, my man. Welcome to the chat. We've not seen IBV on the chat often.
What's Smackle?
Going on, brother?
What's Smackle Attack?
Smackle Attack. Are we talking about fish?
Yeah,
Snackle Attack, more like, Rick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I apologize for my voice. I was at live wrestling last night, so screaming my head off and having a good time with my kids. So my voice is knackered, as you say.
And I apologize for my voice because I am Scottish.
Bullshit.
That's just me. No, the other thing was good. Did you watch the Vegas game last week? Was it Thursday or the Friday or the Monday, or was it the Monday game, the Vegas game, or was it last Sunday? That place went fucking nanners.
Oh my god!
Like, yeah, it's Stevie Aoki. They had like a rave going on. Bruce Buffer's doing like ring announcing.
Yeah,
like, I was like, this is class. I hope it's every game. It should be every game. If it's every game, I'll convert to a Vikings fan if it is every game.
You mean a Raiders fan?
Is it the Raiders? Sorry, I meant the Raiders. Yeah. I'm thinking Viking Raiders. That's why. To be fair, by all intents and purposes, I should be a Steelers fan because of the Pittsburgh link for where I am. Because I live in Dunfermline, which is the birthplace of Andrew Carnegie, who was like a big proponent in the steel industry. So he had to get from here, went over. So he's got two theatres named after him. He's got the Carnegie Hall in New York. We've got one here in Dunfermline. Yeah, that's part of my goal, by the way, is to perform in both Carnegie Halls. I've done one, my home one. Somehow got to figure out how to do the New York one. Bit of a task, bit of a challenge.
Practice. That's
got to kill my. Got to sell my
Carnegie Hall.
I got to sell my body and soul to somebody to get that role. But so because of Andrew Carnegie, his connection to Steelworks, he went over to Pittsburgh. And that's where he set up over there. And that's where the Steelers came. So by all intents and purposes, that's my home team by like some weird connection. So I tried dabble with the Steelers in and out. Usually a bit shit season, but I kind of follow it.
You realize
Ben Roethlisberger's the man. But
yeah. So here's the thing: being a Steelers fan is not a bad thing. They've had 3 head coaches their entire time of existence because of the quality of wins. The last time they've had a losing season, not like 8-8. I'm talking like 6-10 was like 2003. Yeah, was the last time they had a losing season. And so, like, seriously, you cannot go wrong being a Steelers fan. You're gonna have quality seasons every year. Even like it's
a team that ages together, though. That's my worry about it. Is like they do obviously have the draft and things like that, but you look at that core squad and you're like, man, they're getting old. They're getting a bit old, and then it gets come on, Rick, come on, man. I just sold my reason why as well. It's like by virtue, like I don't know what it's like over there, but see when you like live in your local community, you're brought up to support your home team. So for my sins, although I support Everton, heart and soul, for my sins, I do have to support Dunfermline Athletic, who are a shit show this season. No exaggeration. So, but like, so that's how I see it. Is like you support your local team or your home team, and just by sheer links and connections, it's unfortunately Pittsburgh Steelers. But I just think it's.
We know RBB is an Ohio fan, so I mean he's going to cheer for the Browns and the Bengals, and he's already on Facebook complaining about if people are complaining about Burrow, they don't know how to watch football and just stop. So I mean, when you have to shill for 2 really poor teams, all
I know. How was your one off season there, right? But no, it's like it's a very aging team, so you can tell they're getting old together. So it's gonna be a long time before it like gets back to super. For me, I feel like they're a way off getting back to the Super Bowl as good as they can be. They'll beat anyone on their day, but it's I can't see them get to the Super Bowl. So it's a bit of, you just have to kind of look at this. I was trying to get, there was a time where like my last boss was he was a mega 49ers fan. He loved the 49ers. So I was taking satisfaction of him losing all the time. But then he started winning. I'm like, oh man, I got to start saying, well done, mate.
Yeah.
Then I left. Then I don't have to have that chat ever again. But yeah, so I suppose we should talk some wrestling. We've spent the opening. I like these little opening chats because you never know what you get from these. I never expect to talk football. I usually try and throw into the Premier League stuff and the soccer, as you people call it incorrectly.
Properly, as we should.
No, it's not even that. That's right. I'm not got the energy for that kind of debate today, but we will have that debate, and I've got it all like watertight. I'll fight it to the death, because if you've not heard it before, I will say it on this podcast live in person in living color on YouTube right now. The fact that you call your game football is fundamentally wrong at best. So I'm leaving it at that. Mic drop and all that.
Okay. All right,
football.
Well,
fuck off.
I mean, at least you're not a fucking Arsenal fan. Oh my god, can I not?
Hey, you beat Palace. Beat Palace on yesterday. That's something. You finally got points on the board.
Yeah, we beat Burnley like 1-0 the other day. Like, Jesus, like really? Yeah. Like, I mean, we moved out of regulation finally. You know.
Yeah, and you see Everton like unbeaten start to the season, and then getting humped off Aston Villa yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I had to go out for dinner. I was out for dinner with my girlfriend's grandparents because they came up from Southend. And the first half was like back and forth, like, oh man, this could go either way. I had to go. I was like, oh, I'm going to miss this. And then my phone just kept pinging 1-0. Then Liam Bailey came on, it's 2-0. Then 3-0. I was like, fuck this, man. But we had like half a squad worth of players injured somehow, or injured if you're James Rodriguez.
Right.
Like depends on who you talk to. He's either injured or he doesn't want to play. So it depends who you want to talk to on that one. But yeah, fun times being a sports fan. Not so much fun being a wrestling fan this week. Controversy hit us quite hard in the face when the plane ride from hell reared its ugly head again. This is a story that is well entrenched in the wrestling folklore. If you've not heard of this, I really do suggest not just go to the dark side of the ring, because the dark side of the ring can sometimes be a bit negative, although on this point, it does make a point, so we can't really drag it through the mud all that much. But there's so much to it. I mean, you've got, I've not actually fully watched the dark side of the ring episode, but I remember there was, what was it? Hennigan punch. No, it was what's his name? Doc Hendricks. I forgot his name. Michael Hayes getting punched in the face and losing his wig. Yes. Then Kurt Angle wrestling Vince McMahon. What are we talking about here?
Well, and they cut Michael Hayes' hair too. Like,
that shit. Like silly stuff like that. You can have a giggle at, and you can have a bit of fun. But of course, the reason I bring this up is the discussion about Ric Flair. On the plane ride from hell. Now, if you're not familiar with the full story, the sort of gist of it was in the realms of sexual harassment of a air hostess. So he was kind of walking about, had his robe, he was flashing air hostesses, and I think as far as I'm not fully seen the episode, but understand that the accusation was that he was forcing her to touch him and all these things, quite inappropriate things. Wasn't well received by fans, understandably, and rightfully so. But then Tommy Dreamer didn't really help himself either by defending what he did, but also comparing sexual harassment offense to sexual harassment accusations like this to being offended to him having a ponytail. And I mean, he's correct. It is offensive that he has a ponytail in general anyway, but you cannot make that comparison. It's shocking. It was damning in many levels. Obviously, we've heard the story of Ric Flair flash himself in the nude. I mean, it was characterized and animated on a WWE Storytellers episode. He talks about where he's on a flight and all these air hostesses are kind of, the way they frame it there is that the air hostesses were like egging him on to do it. Now, if that's not the same flight, then okay, that's a different story. We can talk about another time. But if it's the same flight, now we have a bit of a problem in the terms of consent. Obviously, the air hostess in question said, this was not, I didn't enjoy it. I wanted to get away, felt uncomfortable, and then got away from that there. Interesting comment here. RBV, Dark Side is cancer the business, makes us all workers, fans. Like, you're right. You know what? Yeah, they do put a negative spin on things, but I think that that is called Dark Side of the Ring for a reason. These are unfortunately, these are the stories that we don't like to talk about. You know what I mean? The deeper elements of this. I mean, they're there. They're sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? It's sort of like the dark side of our thoughts. We want to kind of delve into these stories. Like the Crispy Man one's one of the best bits of wrestling television in a long time. Just the actual story about the dip dive. It's not nice to hear about it, but the actual breakdown of all it's really well done. Some of them are really well done, some aren't. But this one, it's quite a hard one because it did raise some debate. I'm really interested in your thoughts. I'll maybe rant on mind a little bit more in a bit, but just sort of the general gist of what you thought. What are your kind of thoughts coming out of what we found out for that there? Of course, Tommy Dreamer was suspended for his comments on that there. I do believe he did have a statement written out. Hang on, I did have it here. Where is it for that there? Let's have a look here. So Dreamer, after the podcast, he did release a statement. He said, regarding my comments made on the dark side of the ring, it was never my intention to offend, hurt, or victim shame anyone. I understand my comments were insensitive and could trigger emotions in someone's own personal past. I do not condone sexual misconduct of any kind. I apologize to anyone I offended from the bottom of my heart. I am so sorry. So that was his comment today on Twitter. In relation to this. Interestingly enough, it should be brought up as well as prior to this episode coming out, Ric Flair did an interview with Renee Paquette on the Oral Sessions, and he said he didn't care whose name he brought up. He didn't care whose name he had to dig up on this. So basically, if he was going down, people were coming down with him. So there wasn't any sort of like alleviation of guilt or anything like that there. So let's bear that in mind. But that aside, what were your kind of thoughts coming out of that there? Because again, it's not a nice story to hear, and it's not. I think there's a lot of complexities to this that maybe wrestling fans and people in general may be missing on this one.
So here's my first thing. I wasn't surprised because Tony Schiavone podcast, Arn Anderson podcast, any of the Conrad ones that they talk about with Ric Flair. Each one of them talks about how Ric Flair would come to the door with the baby's arm hanging out, is what they call it. It looks like a baby's arm holding an apple. And, they said, he would do that all the time, but there would be women, and he'd answer the door naked with his dong hanging out, whatever. And there'd be women in the room. He'd answer the door thinking, oh, it's a woman coming to, see. So, I mean, this is not like something Ric Flair hasn't done before, it's I mean, the people who are acting surprised, I think, it's one thing. It's another when someone says, hey, here's the thing. Being someone who works in this industry, who works as who deals with sexual assault victims and things along those lines, legally, at what point did she say stop? At what point did she say please stop, please put that away? That's when it becomes an issue. If those words are said and visually or verbally said, then it has to stop, and then it becomes an assault of some sort. It's one thing when we're laughing and having a good time and somebody does it and we all laugh along, but when somebody says, please stop, I feel uncomfortable. If you don't stop, it becomes assault, whether you touch them or not. That's some of the laws that are in place for that reason, to protect people from sexual misconduct, but laws are goofy too. Like we had a doctor here in Weatherford, in our city, in rural Texas. He groped, and he was a cardiologist, but quote, groped and sexually assaulted at least 24 women and only got 6 months probation for what he did.
Fucking hell.
Because the law at the time said he didn't penetrate them because of he just fondled them and their breasts can't be penetrated. So September 1st, the new law passed and has changed, but it doesn't help the guy right then and there. And some, of course, ladies, people don't report. 90% of victims don't report If they do, it's always too late. And again, these are things that happen, so I can't blame this person for coming out now and using this platform to say that she was sexually assaulted by Ric Flair because of this. Because we don't know why people choose not to report or whatever. But at the same time too, this is one of those things where I can't say, as a professional working in the sexual assault and domestic violence area, that what she's saying is wrong. I can't believe her. We have to believe our victims. Now, if done properly, should have been done properly. Yes, should it have not come out during a documentary that covers the dark parts of wrestling and never been reported or anything like that beforehand. There should have been some other things done, but at the same time too, like I said, sexual assault, especially sexual assault, 90% of victims don't report, and it's hard. How do you go and expose yourself to someone saying this person sexually assaulted me, and whatever it is that they did, whether there was penetration or not, or whatever it is, when you've been violated physically, especially in a sexual way, you've been exposed. And how do you share that exposure with someone to help you go forward? And then you're going to have to go through the court process and explain it all again, and then have lawyers question whether you were sexually exposed or not and assaulted to begin with, and doubt your validity to what you're doing. Well, how do you know my client assaulted you? What they were just showing off for let's take this plane ride for example. How do you honestly say, well, I was just performing for the boys, and everybody around, and well, this person asked you to stop. The moment any person asks you to stop, you have to say that. Yes, RBB, I did also read that she has a long criminal rap, but at the same time,
it's somewhat irrelevant though, isn't it? Because two wrongs don't make a right in the situation.
Exactly.
Okay, she has done this, but that doesn't excuse what has or may. We can't obviously don't know for sure. The unfortunate thing about this whole thing, the funny stories, the serious stories, is anecdotal evidence at the best of times. The only people who know exactly what happened on that plane are the people that were on that plane, and 90% of them were steaming drunk.
Yeah,
but you can't. I also always want to bring up as well as the whole bringing up her history. I think it was like $80,000 worth of jewels that she stole or something like that. Mm-hmm. Like, this seems to be dug up as a way to sort of like counteract these accusations towards Ric Flair, and it seems like a strange response by fans. It's like, look, if something happens, it's not our responsibility as a fan base to try and break that person down. Mm-hmm. The bad news is, unfortunately, wrestling fans, and I've been hit with it a few times as well, there are wrestlers out there who are just wrong-ins, and they've had a history of it. We don't know much about it. The speaking out thing brought out a lot of them. Things like this bring it out. We don't like to hear it. We don't want to hear it. God, we hope that this isn't the thing that happens. You'd rather hear these stories and then at the end of it find out they were innocent all along. But at the same time, we have to come to terms with the fact that this is an industry where this has happened. It's continuing to happen, and it has to be acted on. Now, there are ways and means about it. We should, as you say, we should really be going through the legal process, but understandably, it's not an easy thing for the victims to do. It's hard to process. And I think things like this, as wrestling fans, if we take a moment, we don't necessarily do the whole stepping back thing very well. You know, we don't usually, a lot of, like, Twitter's the worst place for it. Like, if something's on your mind, I do it now and again if I'm watching football or something like that. If, like, an emotional thought comes in my mind, like, fucking bastards, and you'll tweet it and you'll say it. Like, it's a hotbed of emotional responses. And what's wrestling fandom all about? Emotional responses. That's all we really know when we follow wrestling. So when our favorite wrestler, because God knows, like, Ric Flair's a favorite among many, and based on his merits of his work, rightfully so, when this happens, of course you're going to have this emotional, like, reaction, but you have to kind of, for something as serious as this, you've got to step back. You've got to analyze what's going on. Yeah. What are these accusations? You can't just kind of, these aren't things that you just pick a side on. You can't. I mean, you have to let the legal side play out. The only side you can be on is, unfortunately, neither.
Right.
Like you can be like, I love Ric Flair, he's my favorite, and you can hope that he's innocent. And if he is, then great, brilliant. But if he isn't, then you're going to have to come to terms with that. And I'm not putting that on the wrestling fan. That's just the reality of the situation that we're faced with. Is we have to come to terms with this. You're supporting that man doesn't make you a terrible person as such. But if you're kind of actively going out to discredit someone's accusations or play back, like we see a lot of the thing with the Joey Ryan stuff or Velveteen Dream, a lot of people are digging and trying to find it. And some people successfully so. That's why people are paid for it. And you think about it, investigators and things like that. But it's not our place to do this. We can be supportive in the victims. We can make sure we do enough. That's the other conversation we have to have. Is we have to do more. You can't just if you have a friend, if you know someone who's like, you need to kind of be aware that there might be a time where you have to act on that, or have their back and help them out with that. There, God forbid if like a friend of mine had like been sexually assaulted, I'd want to have their back or his back. It happens both ways.
Right.
Well, it can happen. You need to kind of be able to identify that and call it out for what it is, rather than being blind to
it's just that idea that we as wrestling fans need to be better. I had this week. I had this moment. Earlier this week, Chase Owens put something on Facebook. Him and I have become friends on Facebook, and he private messaged me saying, hey, he asked me a question, and I was like, oh no, this is my Twitter handle. And I said, because I told him how much I appreciate him coming to one of the shows, taking pictures with Jacob. We've really enjoyed his work and da da da. And he goes, oh no, yeah, you're the guy. At one point you said I was out of shape and a terrible worker and boring or something like that. And I said, look, I probably did. I said earlier when I was early in wrestling, and I thought you had to say stuff to be, and I said I was kind of an asshole fan. I said I do apologize for that, but I said getting to know people in the business, getting to know different things. I said, I understand more that you guys are people and that words affect you, and so now I just try to be positive and supportive in everything I do. And I said I do apologize for those things, and I'm sorry that I had to be that way, and I don't, I said, and he goes, no, man, we're all good. Don't worry about it. I'm live and let live. And he goes, I'm glad that you're supporting what we do. And, you seem like a great fan, and I was like, okay, well, I appreciate that. We had a nice conversation, but it was basically him, seeing if I had become a better fan. And I feel I have been, and, we have to be better as fans. These wrestlers are people. They're going to have good things happen to them. Then they're going to have bad things happen to them. And at what point do we as wrestling fans go, all right, I'm going to support this person, but at the same time too, I also have to be aware that if more things come out, my support of them might have to distance or lessen or really reevaluate my support of this person. I know people are like, look, did we all agree Joey Ryan, what he did, from everything that came out, all the stories that came out of him, he was a piece of shit, but at the same time too, people are shitting on him because he's trying to be better, so he's being sober, so he's, if he's found his faith, awesome. I'm not the first person. Of all people could probably shit on him for saying that. But me, I'm like, look, if you found Jesus, it's not my job to judge you on your faith. It's my job just to live my faith as best I can, hopefully make a difference. And you're the only person who can judge that is God at the end of the day. So when we die, God's the only one who's going to know if we're truly believers or not. It's not my job to judge. But if he's being a true believer and he's walking the path and that's the way he's going, I'm proud for him. And I'm not going to shit on Joey Ryan for the stuff because he's trying to better himself. What's wrong with that? Why can't we do that? As fans, we need to be better, to be encouraging of someone who's walking that path and trying to be better. But at the same time, too, we also need to be willing to call out the people who are bullshitters and the people who are pieces of shit, even if they're our favorite wrestling fans. We, like I said, if any of the Conrad podcasts you can go and listen to, you can hear stories of Ric Flair walking, pulling out, his dong to anybody to see. I mean, I don't know. We laugh, and as guys, we do that, and we laugh. We do in the locker rooms and stuff like that. But in general, that's just not appropriate. In general, it's not something we need to do. I mean, it's not something that is. It's not for anything. We need to. I'm not saying to be Puritan, but at the same time, too, we just need to be responsible for our fandom and the way we treat each other and then treat other people. That's what I'm asking for. Just be responsible, have some common sense, and treat people with respect. That's really the end of the day that we need to do more than anything else. But unfortunately, it's more and more looking like in our society we can't do that. And that's the bad part, is that the idea of respect of another person is not able to happen anymore. You're a piece of shit and you're always going to be a piece of shit, or you're this person, you're always going to be this person, not you're going to be better or changing or moving forward. Let's be better as wrestling fans. Let's be better of let's be honest in our evaluations. If something was bad, let's be bad, but let's not be mean for the sake of being mean. Let's praise people for when they do good. Let's be honest in what we do and be respectful of how we go about doing that. It's okay to call people out for things being bad. We do that on a weekly basis on SmackDown, but we try to do it in a respectful manner, and we do it in a way to say,
hey, constructive.
Be better, do better. We, as fans, we want you to be better because it makes it better for us. We want to cheer you, we want to encourage you, but when you're not doing the best, we need to call you out on that. But at the same time, too, we need to do it in a good way. So, hey, thanks, RB.
Yeah, thank you. Very kind of you, sir. I'm glad. I think we handled that comment quite well. So thank you very much for that. Also, just clear something up. If you're listening to this in the future, probably likely, but I'm not dicking on the fans. Don't worry. Yeah. It's just like it's just more kind of the issue of like taking ownership and responsibility for things you say, and that's the same people like Ric Flair in this instance. Tommy Dreamer is having to like take responsibility, ownership of what's happened to him because of that. Look at that. Hello, people at the bar. How you doing? What you drinking, lads? Hey! Have one for me. Have one on us. I say have one on us. I'm not paying for the bill. I'm Venmo me. but yeah, thanks for listening. That's a pleasure. It's always good to have. I've never had us. I've played. I told you if I've played a bar. I've done. Oh no, I did. I have done a show at a bar. I've done a show at a bar. Not like a big show. It was like a couple minutes of stuff, not like major. But I can add that to my list of prisons, schools, theaters, streets, museums, fucking name it. I've done a show there. But no, this whole discussions about ownership and things like that, and taking responsibility for your actions, and that's what we're seeing here. I'll get around on the smack attack. Oh God, yeah, we'll get you on at some point, right? No, don't you worry. I'm going to do a biggie at some point, maybe Christmas again. We'll do a biggie for that. So we'll end on. I think it was worth talking about because it is quite a serious topic to get into. It's a conversation. It's big this week. And I think it's worth saying that it's a conversation that we don't all like to have. It's not an easy conversation, granted, especially if in this sort of realm and the spectre of how things are, it's easy to just kind of get caught up in it also. So it's quite important that we kind of address that a little bit there. We've got our own sort of way and approach of it as well, we talk about our mental health and other things. So we try and be the sort of supportive spin on it.
Right. Especially when you have to watch things like SmackDown, you need that good mental support and mental health. So
So speaking of, let's just jump right into this fucking show. Oh my God! Right, so I feel like we were in the wrong last week because we talked about SmackDown. We were quite low on it. We weren't too happy with how it was, but the general sort of feedback from people I'm seeing online and other things, they quite liked it. And I might not be fully agreeing with that, to be fair. I looked back and I was like, okay, there's some good stuff in there. I wouldn't say it was a great show by all intents and purposes. We explained why last week. So go listen to that if you get the chance. But this week's show, if last week's show was bad, then what was this week's show? Because it felt so middle of the road and weird and cutty as well. We'll get into this. A lot of the show went from someone coming to the ring. Here's this thing happened backstage. Now they're in the ring. Now we've got a recap package. Now we have a match. Then it's a recap package. Then this is happening. Then a promo. Then a match. It was so all over the shop. And I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what was going on in there. Even this opening promo, I didn't know what they were thinking. I mean, granted, Paul Heyman was really good at it, but yeah. Early thoughts before we get into the deep dive of this show.
I mean,
I
don't know how, honestly, James, to really describe. Like I felt really let down last week for the show. I really did.
Yeah, I think that's maybe why we were a bit lower on it, is because we were let down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was expecting more. I really was. And then this show did nothing to improve that whatsoever. So I would, and I honestly went into the show thinking, surely they can only go up from last week. And boy, did it not feel that way at all.
This was like, when you want to kind of go this way, they're like that. Just flat level. The opening segment was the Bloodline coming out, as always now. Reigns telling Knoxville and making them acknowledge him. Then he tells his Wiseman to start the show and tell the universe how to properly acknowledge a tribal chief. And he goes on to talk about how Reigns he fears no man, no beast, no demon, and they all fear him. And it was just this nice little big up for that there. But after he says that, Big E comes out, and you're like, oh, okay. WWE champion Big E, who we're losing to Raw by all intents and purposes. I did the math on that there. It looks like he's gone. But we've got him this week because he's still technically a SmackDown superstar. Comes out, does a wee bit of a celebration run, jumps on the table, holds the belt up. It's a great old time. Gets in the ring, holds the belt up against Roman Reigns, and you think, oh, something good's going to happen here. Something's about to go down. Nah, Finn Balor comes out instead.
No, yeah.
Like, it is literally this. Like, I forgot to mention as well, at the start of the show, there was 3 different recap packages.
Yeah. Yeah. There was the Rollins one, there was the Roman Reigns and the Usos and Brock Lesnar and the Demon. And then they say that Lesnar will face Roman at
Crown Jewel. So Extreme Rules doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen. Just going into that, getting into that. Yeah. Main event at Extreme Rules will not.
I did like how like Heyman said that Brock he's known him for a while professionally. In that at Madison Square Garden, he saw fear in Lesnar's eyes.
Yeah,
right before and I'm like, oh, that's kind of like. So then when Big E's music hit, at first I was thinking maybe that's when Brock might come out, because it'd be like, what the fuck, kind of moment. But no, Big E comes out, which was fun. It's always good to see Big E. Yeah, and and then Finn shows up, and I'm just thinking,
bit of a David Downer.
The timing was just so weird. Yeah. Like it's just getting started, and then Finn comes out. And then,
Teddy Longs has the pen here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Because we cut to a break and we're straight into the deep of a match of Big E and Balor versus the Usos. Quite a nice match, all things considered. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird one.
Where did that come from? Where did that come from?
Yeah, there's nothing to build up. It's happening. Here we go. Maybe they said something to the live crowd. I don't know. But we didn't get any information or background for this. This was basically just a squash. Well, not a squash, but it was a good back and forth until Big E got the hot tag, basically, and got the big old win off the Usos. Bit of a painful thing for the Usos to take a loss when they're about to go into a tag title match with the Street Profits. I mean, anyway, I suppose they were setting up Big E and Roman Reigns. They're setting up the New Day and the Bloodline on Raw. Cheers, guys! Literally, 4 out of the 6 people in that match are SmackDown guys, but not get them on Raw. They bother.
Yeah.
Rob SmackDown of potentially the best match of the week. Fuck off, guys. Not cool. Give me something better next week. But so this is a way to sort of get Big E up as WWE champ. Balor's a potential challenger for Roman Reigns. That's what I was going to mention is I can't remember if it was here or somewhere else, but Heyman had mentioned as well that you were talking about Lesnar showing fear in his eyes, but he also brings up the fact that Lesnar being spontaneous and doing all these things is also a sign that Reigns is in his head and he's got the fear. And I was like, I like that little touch. That was quite a nice wee sort of spin on things as well. I was kind of half open for a comedic Lesnar again.
Yeah,
like the Lesnar with the Money in the Bank contract.
Yeah, with Lesnar. Yeah,
but
I
think
that was after this. After this, when right, because I think it was after this when Roman was watching the Usos lose. They were in that backstage, and he was talking about because he talked about he doesn't pay him to be under impression. He pays him to know
ahead of time.
Yeah. And you know, and like the preposterous narrative that he knew about coming to SummerSlam. You know, there's you know, and that he's dealing with fear for the first time, and all this stuff. And so I think that it was after this match that they talked about a lot of that stuff. So
yeah,
and then we get some boo.
My man having the same match for the 10th time. Boogs. Oh man, well, not much to write on.
He took on Rude instead of Ziggler this time.
Oh yeah, still ended the same way, the right way. I might add. Boogs should never lose a match ever.
Yeah, I know, right? And he should always have Pat McAfee screaming,
Boogs, my man. I still don't get the double duty of him though. Playing guitar before and after the match, he has. He's not even playing. He's not playing himself to the ring. He's playing Nakamura to the ring for his own match that Nakamura is going to be on ringside for. It's like, mate, there's humility and then there's being mugged off.
Right.
Stop getting mugged off by your own man here. Stop. Just say, Nakamura, it's your turn. Play something. I don't care if you only know 2 chords. Strum. I walked out the ring to that. We all learned Wonderwall at some point. How about that? But yeah, so it was fun enough. But the issue from that one, Apollo Crews and the Commander of the Seas come out, attack Boogs and Nakamura, get the better of them, and Apollo Crews demands his rematch for the Intercontinental title. Interesting stat I need to throw at you this way. Know how since July, Nakamura is 7-3 against Apollo Crews. So he's absolutely done the job on him 7 times in the past 2 months. Why are we having this match?
Because we have Commander Aziz. Because we have these 2 guys who are. Yeah, thank you, Vet. We know it's Sunday. Because we have 2 guys
Sunday fun
who need other people to accompany them to the ring, and we have to, of course, we have to, of course, have them come together because we need to see the outside of the ring interference guys be a part of this Intercontinental match, which is what happened last time. Really, I mean, if you think about it, you know.
No, I would have been way more interested in, and correct me if I'm totally wrong on this, right? But I would actually be more interested in Nakamura defending against Ziggler and Rude in a triple threat match because they took out Boogs. Because he got fed up losing to Boogs every week. So when he comes out to play his music, Ziggler and Boogs just dish him out. Just throw him into the amps, throw him off the ring, beat him up, injure him for a couple of weeks, and here, Nakamura, right, let's stop messing about with Boogs. We want a title match, triple threat match. I would genuinely be interested in that because they're already in the circle. They've not wrestled each other much.
Right.
Ziggler and Rude will always give you a good match anyway. And it gives a bit of stakes to it, you know? Like Nakamura's sticking up for his friend. There's the jeopardy of having Rude or Ziggler pinning you. Neither of them could win the title. Then you could have a little back and forth between Ziggler and Rude in the match because they both want the championship. You know, it's a very easy thing. You don't need Apollo Crews on this one. Again. Like, give us something unique. And we've just come up with that in a matter of seconds. Because the storyline's already there. So use playing pieces you've got and just let them work with each other. Give Apollo Crews, I don't know, Dominic Mysterio, who we'll talk about in a little bit, because Jesus. Talk about matches repeating themselves, man. Like, this is a recurring theme in the show. Apart from later on, there's some really good stuff. But it's like, it just seems a bit of a waste, this feud. Like bringing Apollo Crews and Aziz, who have on a very much losing record against Nakamura.
Although we did get to see A devastated Pat McAfee because of Boogs.
I was
getting attacked.
gutted.
Yeah.
It's like no party for McAfee. Like,
Yeah.
oh, again, praise McAfee for this show,
Yeah.
man. Not
I know,
even.
right? Makes it tolerable.
Yeah. But we'll move on. Kevin Owens, he's tired about hearing about Happy Corbin. He isn't happy. He's furious. And beating up Happy Corbin will turn his frown upside down. That was the promo we got. To lead in this match between Kevin Owens and Baron Corbin, which did not happen. Because Corbin just battered Owens. And did a Kevin Owens thing as well.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Owens obviously famously did the pop-up powerbomb onto the ring apron in his early days.
Right.
Happy Corbin choke slamming him onto. I'm liking Corbin doing the choke slam.
Yeah.
It fits him well.
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, I like his other stuff that looks good too, but I especially like his deep six and the end of days. You know, I really like the end of days for him. Like, honestly though, it gets a really.
I mean, he swings him forward and just
yeah
flips him back. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, but
it takes a bit of back and helping out with your pal, though. You got to kind of
It does, but I think it looks cool when he does it. I think it's a good. It's a unique enough move, to be to good. But I like him doing the choke slam too, because the dude is a big dude. He's at that like level where he could and should be choke slamming guys. Like I can't stand it when guys who are like, I mean, I go to a lot of local indie shows. Guys are like 6'4" and they're choke slamming guys. I'm like, are you kidding me right now on this? Last night we were watching something and I swear somebody was going to go for a choke slam. And I'm like, only Lance Archer can do a choke slam, you idiot. And so like they ended up not doing a choke slam, but like, cause Lance is, the dude is 6'8", he's the only guy on that show last night who should have even attempted a choke slam, which he did. And he did a great job with it. But like that is the whole purpose.
It's a big person move.
It's a big person move. And Baron Corbin's like 6'8", I mean, he's a big dude. And, and him, Lance Archer, Aziz, is a pretty big dude. Like those all, Omos,
yeah.
Obviously those are, guys who should be doing that kind of move. Undertaker, I know, and Kane kind of, brought that move into the forefront. But like, those are the size guys. If I'm saying like 6'7", 6'8" and above, you should have that in your arsenal. If you're 6'4" or 6'5", no, you're not there yet. I mean, you can do power bombs and you can do other things, but you're not choke slam level. It's not happening. So I like that move for him. I think it's a good move. Is it a finisher for him? I would rather him stay with his end of days because it's still unique. I think. I hope they're not transitioning out of the end of days to be a choke slam, because then it just becomes another generic big man. Sorry, I'm the vet. I'm already done with him.
Ooh, come on. That's brutal. Can we get release Corbin, please? Or getting there close last time until he won that money. That's probably what saved him. Like he got that big win at the casino and was like, fuck, right, we'll keep him.
Yeah. Surely it was unlikely. But I mean, it is definitely something that we are. I think I just hope they don't transition, because it becomes a boring big man move.
Yeah, I can see it being like a sort of backup finisher. Like if the deep sixers want chokeslam, bam. Or if he's got a small guy like a Rey Mysterio, like chokes, that would look impressive to see a chokeslam. But then the end of days being good for sort of bigger talents.
Right.
Mix it up, diversify, and pick out your moments. I think.
It's true, because like last night, I mean, at one point Lance chokeslams Victor Benjamin. The Savage Gentleman, Lady Frost's husband, for anybody who doesn't know who he is, the Butterfinger champ. And he brought these, they had some people in the back who dressed up in peanut, costumes to be the peanut butter platoon, and they had little army hats. And of course they interfered at one point, and Lance chokeslams the hell out of them. I mean, they go up just like way up here, and like way over Lance's head and come in arm, and it looked amazing. I mean, it was just the most coolest thing ever. And watching him do that, I mean, even with Victor though, he they got up, to about his shoulder height and coming down. I mean, Lance is one of the bigger big men who can get guys to do that and make it look really, really good. So it's definitely something worth watching and checking out. Especially when a good big man does it. And, especially when you have a lighter guy who's willing to get up there.
Oh, yeah.
So,
although I will say, my favorite ever chokeslam, people will maybe not agree with me on this one. Kane on The Undertaker in 2000, leading up to SummerSlam. When he puts him through the ring, it's just the perfect, gets him up, he gets the height on it, and it's the way he throws him, and he just lets him take a go at the right second. Still standing, he goes bam, and he threw the mat and was like, fuck you, and leaves. I was like, that is my favorite one. Just how he does it. Just everything about it was just a beautiful chokeslam. You'll never top that for me. Never top it.
Yeah.
But anyway, speaking of, you talk about release Corbin. Speaking of people moving on, this was a weird thing that happened on SmackDown. And it came to me that I had this moment when I was watching this going, Heyman's really being faced with his Christmas past, present, and future here, isn't he? We're talking about Lesnar and his past, his current being the Roman Reigns situation, his future looking to be what Roman Reigns is going to be facing next after Brock Lesnar, seemingly. But yeah, this thing came out of absolutely nowhere when Heyman bumps into Caleb Braxton and is asked about Lesnar going to Raw. Like, where did that come from? There's been no inkling of that, no hints of it. We've even talked about the draft on these shows recently, apart from announcing when it's happening. So, what is it supposed to be? Sort of like a weird twist that they're setting up that, like, Reigns won't have to face Lesnar because he's been punted to Raw. Well, I wonder who did that.
Unless it was just a misspeak on her part, that was the only thing I could think of.
Yeah,
because Big E, I think, makes an appearance, and he's the WWE champion, which is really typically on Raw. So that was my only thought, was she's thinking Raw because she see Big E's like right there coming around the corner, and and then that's my only thought process. She just misspoke from that aspect.
Because it just seems such a weird thing to bring up at the time,
right? And I think that was just a simple misspeak on her part.
Especially what this promo does, because after that point, Big E, as you rightfully said, shows up. Heyman tells him he made the right choice in picking the more vulnerable champion, but Big E throws we'll see when I take on your boy at Survivor Series. Or will it be your other one, Lesnar? Ooh, could be the one, or it could be Finn Balor. Clearly not. Not happening. But I quite liked it. It was sort of like saying, like, I'm coming for Reigns.
Right.
Survivor Series, basically. So we already know 2 pay-per-view matches post Extreme Rules. If you didn't feel bad for Finn Balor by now, you will now. Fucking hell. Can you imagine, like, getting done in on a regular show, then you're building up the demon character for a pay-per-view, and then knowing the next 2 matches for Reigns are already booked, like, both likely having him with the title. You go, why am I doing this? Why would you do this? Like, in real life, if you saw that happen, you'd be like, I'm going to fucking kill this guy. I'm going to ruin everything. But in the world of wrestling, you just have to accept the creative and go, well, that's a bit rubbish. But they're too keen. They're too keen on the trigger finger these days. So we had that. Big E made his claim. Then the Usos attack him.
Right.
And Reigns just walks right on by. So that's all we got in this segment. Setting up Survivor Series. So in the space of a day, like a couple of weeks, we've set up Extreme Rules, then Crown Jewel, now Survivor Series. And is he on some kind of smashing tour or something like that? I don't know what the deal is.
Well, yeah, that was his thing for a while too. I'm gonna stack him and smash him or something, smash him and stack him or whatever. I mean, if you want to go even further, we've almost set up WrestleMania, because that was the rumored match for WrestleMania was Lesnar and Reigns. So really, we've done like 6 months worth of booking in the space of 2 weeks. Pretty much.
Oh my god! I'll be interested to see how they navigate the waters from here on in. But hey ho, something that is doing a bit of long-term booking now, maybe because their hand's been forced. I don't know. It's an interesting tale to tell. Seth Rollins comes out to reflect on what he did to Edge. I love this promo, by the way. Seth Rollins really knocked it out of the park. Bit of a change in tone from how he was after he did the curb stomp on Edge, but I liked it. It's sort of like a man who's accepted what he did, and he's like, "No, I kicked his ass." But he talks about like the sound of that, and he likened it to being a cockroach, like stepping on a cockroach, and that crunch that he made for that as well. And he said, "What do you think will happen?" He talks about how he said it happened all the time. He knew what was going on. He said, "Whoa, what was that?"
Oh, sorry.
Did you fall asleep on me?
No. I got I got sinus issues.
All right, fair enough.
No, and I got really congested, and I had trouble breathing for a second. So
fair enough.
Kind of like clear that out. My bad, dude. I didn't mean for that to be on there. I was listening. It was good. I all of a sudden my nose just stopped up, and I was like, I had to breathe. I couldn't breathe. So
oh my god, you're dying on me.
I know.
But anyway, so Edge talks about how everyone's looking at him like he's a monster and saying he went too far. But the problem was he didn't go too far. Edge did. And then he comes up for Edge. Like, I'm going to come to your house and all this shit.
Yeah.
He wants another go. He wants to take him one more time. Rubber match when he gets better. So this is the thing is like, we don't know when Edge is coming back. The chat is it's indefinite amount of time. So I think this promo was supposed to sort of like bench the feud for now, but have enough there so when Edge does come back, everyone's like, oh shit, yeah, Rollins said this. And because come back to that there. So I think nice setting of the table. I mean, for lack of things, people will say, oh, what's the point of doing this promo if he's not going to have the match with Edge now? But this one of those intentional rare bits of long-term storytelling there. We know there's going to be something happening down the line. Or if it does happen, it doesn't mean it will happen, but if it does happen, we know we've got X point here that sets us up. We can just go back to this. I remember what you said on this day, telling me you'll come to my house and beat me up, or I did it to myself. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to sort you out right, and all that nonsense for that there. So yeah, good work. Yeah. It was probably the best bit of SmackDown for me.
Yeah, and it's a way to keep the heat on Rollins. Let's be honest. Right now, he's really the only guy pulling any heat. For as a heel in WWE. And so this keeps it on him. It makes you dislike him. It can move him forward when need be, because we know at some point Edge is lurking in the background, ready to pounce whenever they decide they're going to pull the trigger on that. And that's the thing is, I think this is WWE saying, hey, Edge, we need you in the back pocket for now. We've got all this stuff going on with Brock and Big E and, Finn Balor and all this kind of stuff. Let's kind of put you in the back pocket, say you're hurt, for those who weren't aware, we did have Dr. Alex Arroyo on when they were at Madison Square Garden last week. And we may or may not know some things, but at the same time, we've seen things. But at the same time too, it's that idea of, I think they're going, we need that heat that Rollins brings. Yeah. We have this in our back pocket. So once we get all this big stuff cleared out, we can kind of have something still to fall back on when it's time.
Yeah, but you're also helping out Edge. You put him in the proverbial bubble wrap.
Right.
It's like, we don't want to overwork him. We don't want to put him risk actual injury from him, because we've seen it happen. We did WrestleMania last year. They went straight into that match with Randy Orton, got injured. It's like, not neck aside, he's still aging. Like, his body will pick up injuries now and again. So it's not bad to let him rest and recover and just make sure he's tip top. Because when he's at 100%, we've seen this year already in the match he's done, he'll do really good matches for you. So it's better to have him fit and healthy and putting out really good matches than putting him on too often on a weekly basis, and he just tires out and we don't get the quality they want. You want bang for your buck, quality over quantity with Edge, and they're doing it the right way. So I agree with you doing that there. Mm-hmm. Speaking of quality over quantity, my God, John, I can't believe it. Did you ever think this was ever going to happen in your life? We got a women's match.
Oh my God.
We got Toni Storm. Where the fuck? How amazing.
With Liv, all of a sudden, I'm like, it's okay. Liv is with Toni Storm. Like,
this worked for me.
Like, I wasn't like, it wasn't like this didn't work. It was like same thing as like before. Where did this come from?
Yeah.
Like kind of like with the match earlier with Big E and Finn versus the Usos. Where what? Okay, no big deal. And so okay, I mean, because the Selena Carmella thing made sense because we saw that with Sasha Banks and everything along those lines, and we had, but let's be honest. Okay, let me take this. We had easily the stupidest finish.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
I've ever seen in my entire life. And I watch indie wrestling. I watch indie wrestling with some stupid ass shit that you sometimes do with ending of shows. This was easily the worst thing I could see. And you put it on fucking television. You got me cursing WWE. I'm so pissed about this. You put this on national TV, on free Fox TV. And this is how you end a match on a women's match when you have somebody like Toni Storm who can go and you do this kind of bullshit. What the hell? What the hell? There would have been grounds to try and defend it. If not 5 minutes later, just ruined the whole thing. That's what made it so much worse for me. Right. So we'll talk about the match quickly. So they had the match. The match ended when Liv Morgan pushed Carmella into the ring post, and Carmella acted like she broke her nose. So it was like, oh shit, she broke her nose. And she didn't even hit the post though. She hit the
she missed
the cushion. She hit the cushion. Like that's always there.
Yeah, it's padded for your protection, for your nose.
If it would have been exposed turnbuckle, let's do that. No, it was a regular ass turnbuckle that they hit. God knows how many times. How many times have we seen people? Yeah, you are, vet. You are. But how many times have we seen that? And this time we're gonna do.
Look, I'm not gonna lie here. I just saw Robin off and thought, wait a minute, hang on, this is getting a bit weird.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lowered the tone there.
Dude. But yeah, like seriously, this
sorry,
it was the dumbest thing ever. And it was ridiculous. It was.
And then Morgan said, "Oh, I'm sorry for hitting you." No, not really. Let's have a match of Extreme Rules. Like Toni Storm is right there. Can we not just give her a match?
No,
can we just give her time?
We can't because she's obviously well more polished than any of these three in the ring, and we can't expose her like that.
Oh my God! It's just. It's a saying overseas. Oh, I know that. I know it's a saying overseas. We use it here too. But, it's 11 o'clock over this way. Rubbing in many ways.
At 11, rubbing at 11 o'clock at night is way different than...
Especially when we're talking about the women's matches here. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, boys? Guys time. But yeah, so we got the match at Extreme Rules. Then the bit that totally ruins the whole bit anyway is when they're backstage in the medics room and Carmella moves her hand, and Zelina was like, actually, your nose is okay. You're fine.
Yeah.
So they didn't break her nose. She just bumped it. So waste of time completely. Bit of a shame because we got Liv Morgan back. Yay. Toni Storm back. Hooray. And then done. Then we had that. And it's like, oh, great. And then Toni Storm's not even getting a match at Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
We feel robbed by that. I really do. There it is. Don't give the beautiful, amazing worker any matches. Yep, that's exactly the one that fits the bill for WWE in almost every possible way. They won't use her.
Good looking,
guys.
Good looking, promo can work. I mean, it is the full package, but we're not going to do anything with her.
She's the fans love her. Everyone's familiar with her. And you know what? She slots in nicely in that sort of top end of the belt because, Bianca Belair can work, Sasha works, Becky Lynch can work. Not saying Toni Storm should be right there right away, but, when there's workers there that can work.
She could easily work her way up to that spot.
Totally.
But no, we can't do that.
Let's not talk about that. Moving on. Another women's segment. Holy shit. Naomi has went to extreme measures to see if she can get a match by putting Sonya Deville in a corner.
Oh wait, don't forget about the demon, the Finn Balor part. After the Traitors
God,
Room, remember?
do we have to talk about that?
If you want to skip it, we can. But,
I don't summon the demon. The demon summons me, and then his face goes red. That's basically all you need to know about this pro. I'm sorry, right? You watch Finn Balor NXT, right, and how he was brilliant.
Yeah.
You watch him. You saw
the Vince comment, didn't you? You saw the Vince
comment. Yeah. Come on. For those who are curious, don't date Juice Robinson. Lesson learned, ladies and gentlemen. They didn't like his Save the World gimmick in NXT that much that they're holding it against people back in 2021.
Yeah, no, right?
Fucking hell. But yeah, Finn Balor had that weird promo. Talked about how he doesn't summon the demon summons him, which makes no sense because, you know, it's him. And then they do a weird thing where he looks at the camera and then he turns into the demon. Cool CGI moment, to be fair. I liked that. I liked the bit of it. I liked how they done that. But that was about the long and short of it. Did nothing for me. Made no sense. And basically, you're just showing the demon thing. You're doing what they did the last time he came back and did the demon stuff. And it breaks my heart because I know he's going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
That is the worst thing about this right now, is knowing that we've got Lesnar at Crown Jewel, Big E at the cross-brand match in Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
They're already locked in now.
Mm-hmm.
We've sold it to people, or we started selling one of them to the people. Like Brock Lesnar's already confirmed for Crown Jewel, no matter what. Big E was like, I'll see whoever's champ at Survivor Series. So we already know we're getting that.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole Demon Finn Balor thing is needless. We're just burning him. We're burning it without even giving it any wins. You know, put him in the ring with a Baron Corbin, or I don't know who's kicking about that main event scene right now. It's Rollins. You could give him a win over Rollins, and you'll bounce back fine. You know, something like that. You know, just give him something rather than here comes the demon. Demon's done. We're not going to see that again for a while, guys. Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Waste of time. A couple of things are a waste of time coming up, actually. We'll speak to them. Naomi corners Sonya Deville and says one way or another she's going to get her match. After the break, we find out she's suspended indefinitely because she's done that, which is brilliant. Sonya Deville's not messing about for that there.
Yeah.
Then we got Dominic Mysterio versus Sami Zayn. I don't know if this is the third or fourth time.
It's the third.
Third time.
Because they make mention of it in the finish. They make mention of he beats him for a third time in a row.
Exactly. I was going to say, can you guess how this ends? Ends the same way, really. Just ends the same how it ever happens, you know? Lots of cutting back and forth, but by the way, the whole Finn Balor thing, Naomi thing, and then Naomi getting suspended happened in the time it took the Mysterios and Sami Zayn to get to the ring.
Yeah.
Again, the cuts here. What are we doing? Like, so fucking higgledy-piggledy show. And it was even good. So the match happens. Zayn gets in Mysterio's face. Ho, ho, ho. Looks like we're getting that match now.
You're not the coach that you're not the coach you thought he was.
God, yeah. I was just like, I was already dipping off by this point. It was like, I need this to end soon. Becky Lynch appeared at some point just after this, or around about here, talking about how Bayley's having her homecoming and she's just going to watch and let her have a moment. Mayor Kane is in the house.
Yeah.
Comes out to his theme song, doesn't wear the mask, doesn't even act like Kane. He's just, hi, I'm Glenn Jacobs, mayor of Knoxville here. Remember I was a wrestler? Remember I was Kane? Oh, hey, look at this. That sort of stuff he was doing. Just proper mayor stuff. That's not me anymore, guys.
Except the post explode with fire, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's in his proper suit and he's, you know, the mayor. But no, we still have to do the whole badoosh with the...
Hey! A bit more into... Oh... Wow! Oh, look at that, guys! I can still do it. Still got it. So this is all for Bianca Belair's homecoming, who comes out and Kane presents her with the key to Knoxville. Now, I know that's a thing in America, but I feel like it's a bit of a weak achievement to win that. feel like the key of a city or a state or something like that. I mean, like you'd have to do something pretty heroic or something big time. You know what I mean?
Not necessarily. Like honestly, it's one of those things where like because it's just a way for a city to honor somebody for something. Like so let's say for example, my hometown Lafayette, Louisiana, right? We've had Daniel Cormier is from there.
Yeah.
UFC championship legend. Dustin Poirier also from there, both guys there. Actually, as a matter of fact, Daniel Cormier and I went to crosstown schools, and we played each other in football. Yeah, so we graduated the same year. Let's say they wanted to give him a key to the city for his UFC work. You can do that. Let's say they want to give me a key to the city for philanthropy. They could do that. It's just a way for like the city to honor somebody they feel has done something special in some way, shape, or form that's brought honor to the city. So it's not like you had to do something grandiose. You give it to a Medal of Honor winner. You can give it to someone who did something. You can give it to someone who did something courageous. Somebody who ran into a building and got 3 people out of a fire, and they'll give a key to the city to somebody like that. So I can understand this. Being Bianca Belair is from Knoxville. Did all these things and had all these accomplished. Plus, on top of everything else, not only becoming WWE champ, but the match that she had was considered an SB winner for that match. I mean, that was, she had a series of accomplishments to build to where it makes sense. And of course, Kane being the mayor of Knox County, having that ability to do that, it's not like it's a huge deal. Like, I mean, I got a city accommodation for performing CPR on a guy when I worked for the city of Watauga here in Texas, and saved his life. They gave me a nice piece of paper, and did all these things, and came into pictures, went in front of the city council and an official meeting and the minutes and all that kind of stuff. And it's something they do. It's just they want to highlight something, and the key is like the highest level of receiving that. And usually you reserve that to famous people. I mean, the city of Dallas gave Michael Vick a key one year. I'm like, this is like, hey, read the room. Yeah. This is after the whole dogfighting thing, and it had something to do. John Wiley Price, who's one of the commissioners of Dallas, and known for being corrupt or whatever. I forget the reason why they gave it to him for his work with kids or something. But it's like, bro, you're giving him the key to the city, like. Read the room. Read the room, bro. And he plays for Philadelphia, who's one of Dallas Cowboys' arch rivals, and you're giving this guy a key to the city. Like, what the? Okay. So it can be even handed out by random city, council people. So it's not like, it's not like it's a big deal per se.
Yeah. So we are awarded, she is awarded the key to the city. And he talks about how Bianca Belair's got the match at Extreme Rules, and he knows she's going to take back her championship at Extreme Rules. And when she does, they're going to have a huge parade in her honor. I'd be up for that. Like a parade. That'd be class.
Yeah.
Of course, I should have said he did that before you give him the key. Then they do the Knoxville anthem. I believe that's what it was.
No, it's okay. So it's called Rocky Top, and it is the University of Tennessee's like fight song. Good old Rocky Top, Tennessee. It's a song that they sing at like University of Tennessee football games.
Like football game thing.
Yeah. So University of Tennessee, their stadium is one of the largest in the United States. They hold over 100,000 people in that stadium legitimately. Without moving chairs like you can at Jerry World here in Dallas, the Death Star as we call it, Texas, whatever they're calling Texas Stadium, or whatever it's called.
AT&T
Stadium. That's right. Thank you. I live here, and I can't stand the Cowboys. But it legit holds 100,000 people, and like it's packed out there all the time. Like when I when I was on the women's softball team for the University of Louisiana Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns. We were top 25 program. We went up there to play in Knoxville one first season. Their spring game, we were there in the spring playing University of Tennessee in a round robin tournament. Their spring game brought in 90,000 people.
Ooh.
For a spring game of just them scrimmaging themselves.
Mental.
And you had softball going on right there. So like it was a sight to behold, and you could hear Rocky Top from the stadium. So it's kind of the fight song for the unofficial fight song for the University of Tennessee, which Bianca Belair went to school there, and they have an incredible track program. So
I suppose she was quite decorated as like a track
right.
athlete, wasn't she? So
so that's so that's what that happened. It's that, and then of course Becky comes out and does her.
Yeah,
I'm a bad
gets told
guy
you
now.
don't go here.
Who's that?
Who's
that chick? Yeah, who's that chick that goes like, I'm a bad guy. Like there's a song about that or whatever.
Oh, Billie Eilish.
Okay, yeah, I don't know any popular music or whatever, but like I feel like that should be the song being played when Becky comes out now, like that. I'm a bad guy. Like,
well, they're trying everything else. Got
like,
fucking sunglasses, weird jackets going on now.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are, Vet. We are simple people. So, I like because it's like she's trying but not trying to be a bad guy. So I feel like that song is the tone of Becky Lynch's like heel turn thing. It's like,
it's still such a weird heel turn. It doesn't even fit with me.
Yeah.
But she came out, says it's actually Belair's night. I'm just here to congratulate her, and I'll shake your hand. They do the handshake. She turns to leave. Bianca doesn't let go, and then she goes for a swing. Bianca Belair tries to put her in the KOD, gets countered into the manhandle slam.
Yeah,
and when you know the hometown person isn't winning, even in a in-ring segment.
And that's how we end the night.
That's how we end the night. Becky Lynch standing over Bianca Belair, holding the championship. It's like, damn it, man. I think we're trying to show that the match can end very quickly because it was like a couple of seconds of like KOD. Oh well, slam done. Opinion, but look at that. I love Becky. The heart is green because she's Irish, guys. Nice touch, classy there, very classy. I love Becky. I do love Becky Lynch. She's great, but I'm not really digging the heel Becky Lynch on this one. It feels like they're trying far too hard to get this to where they need it to be. I've always said from the off, it's as simpler as it's simpler than they could be making it now. But it just seems a bit dumb for me at the moment. Like if something happens to change their mind, I'll be all about it. But just now, it just doesn't convince me. Not convincing was the SmackDown in general. A lot of holes in it, a lot of cuts back and forth, recap packages, backstage promos, matches that didn't end that made sense.
Filler,
the list goes on. Filler.
I mean, and then of course the worst finish to a match ever. This
was a bit of a downer show, to be honest with you. I mean, outside, I think if you just watch the first 2 minutes of the opening segment, I mean, if you stop it as Big E comes out, and then don't come back until this end segment, you got a pretty decent SmackDown. Oh no, I tell you, like, come back for the Rollins segment, then go for a coffee break or a tea break, come back for the main event segment. You've got yourself a decent SmackDown here. The rest, we got to work on that, lads. We got to work on that.
I mean, think about this. This was your 4 matches that you had that night on SmackDown. You had WWE Champion Big E and Finn Balor versus the Usos. It says in a championship contenders match.
Okay. When we already know there are contenders for the championships.
Right. I mean, and then you got Rick Boogs beating Robert Roode, and of course that whole thing. We got Toni Storm and Liv Morgan defeating Zelina Vega and Carmella Valley-Cow. Again, the stupidest ending to a. And
you got your two the better workers in that match sitting there, Liv Morgan and Toni Storm, not getting used, and that's like great.
And then you end your matches in the night with Sami Zayn defeating Dominic Mysterio for a third time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, honestly, like I don't know if you've seen any Rampage this week, but like for example, let me take how they got the Intercontinental thing versus the TNT
TNT
Championship.
title.
Yeah,
Oh,
did you see that? Like where
night and day.
like
Night and
Miro is
day.
just trying to kill poor Fuego, which I saw last night. Fuego was there last night with Alan Angels
Yeah.
from the Dark Order and the vlog crew, and they, just puts Fuego in that, clutch. I mean, you just like shout outs to Fuego, man, just to be able to take that thing like that. And Sammy comes out, but not really any promos need to be said. He comes out and he does the thing, but they do a great job of saying Sammy Guevara versus Miro for the TNT Championship. You know, brilliant, well done. Did you see the what was it? Was it on Wednesday night? Dan Lambert and like
just going deep on the AEW in that promo.
But then you have Jericho and Hager come out and just
is it Junior DeSantos and Andrei Arlovsky they're going up against next week?
Well, no, they're going against Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky.
I thought it was like Arlovsky and DeSantos.
They were there in the ring because I guess Ethan Page are like with America Top Team. That's the whole point. And they're there as like backup to protect Dan because the first time Dan came out, Lance Archer whipped the shit out of him, which I don't know if you've seen that, James, but it is so fun.
It's
to watch.
Incredible. So I just love how it's like, right, I need two heavyweights. I need Paige Van Zandt, Amanda Nunes now and again.
Yeah, he's being that shitty heel manager, trying to protect himself with all of his people. And then he gets Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page because they come out because Lance comes out a second time and he's gonna, even with Arlovsky and Junior Dos Santos in the ring, he starts coming for Dan Lambert again. And I'm thinking, okay, how's this gonna work? And then Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky jump Lance. To show that they're with American Top Team. And then, but watching Jericho do that to set that all up, that was good. They're doing a better job of setting stuff up than SmackDown. And I know they only have an hour on Friday nights, but still, they're doing a great job of it.
That Dynamite card next week is a pay-per-view essentially.
Oh yeah. Oh,
mad numbers. Did you hear that there's a show like WWE and AEW are running in the same building? And it's like the space apart.
Long Island, a week apart.
Long Island, yeah. AEW's got a higher capacity than WWE have by like a couple hundred.
So when I saw last night, 70% of AEW
75% it was.
And then only 36% for WWE. Yes.
And same building.
Exactly. That you're right. The G1 is here. So fuck all this. It is time for G1 season.
Brian Danielson was right there. You couldn't put him in the docks for the G1.
No.
Slap him in somewhere. Come on, man.
No, he's too busy jacking off.
You could have done it. But you're right in saying.
Hey, I'm complaining because I get to see Minoru Suzuki next week on this Sunday. At this time, I will be watching Minoru Suzuki and Lance Archer whipping Tom Lawler's ass in a tag team match. But I'm just saying, he's not even in G1 right now. But still, I'm not complaining because I get to see Minoru Suzuki live. So,
by the way, we're doing the Smack Attack this time next week.
No,
Could you imagine?
Yes, Okada versus Tana was like a
dupe.
Vet. I got to see them at G1 in Dallas, and it was an incredible match. It was great. So you started off the G1. You had your both, but when the actual G1 match started, you had Lance versus Will Ospreay, which if you've never seen that match, it is incredible. It's the best David versus Goliath match you'll ever see. And Lance goes over in his hometown. They give him the win. It is awesome. And of course, that is the origin of the Murder Hawk Monster. Because the day before, when we're at Lance helps us go to the press conference, Lance is in his regular long rocker hair. And then in the Facebook, he messages and goes, "Hey, does anybody know of a hairdresser in the area?" And I was like, I said, man, I only know somebody in Weatherford. And so some other people gave him some names. He comes out the next night. He has the teased mohawk with just bright red, and against Will Ospreay. And then you end the night with Okada versus Tana and the A Block wrestling each other. And it was an amazing match. I mean, just incredible. And then I watched last night or this morning. I can't because time and things are whatever. I watched the Okada Tana match that just happened, and it blew that other G1 match out of the water.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God, I loved it. I loved it. It was
Yeah.
so good. I mean, the work rates that these guys have, the things that they do. This is the best time of year to watch wrestling. Jeff Cobb and Chase Owens. Okay, look, Chase Owens, whether you like him or not, he's a solid hand. They put on a good show. It is good stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's I think my saving grace right now is that there is good wrestling to watch, and it's called the G1. And if you have an opportunity to watch any of these matches, do it. Stay up, watch it. Just the headlocks alone, watching them do those kind of things are just it's great. It's great TV to enjoy. And I mean, it's in and out this year. There's no farting around. There's no night before, because I was actually on Twitch. Chase and I were talking about this. He had a Twitch, and I was watching him. I was like, "What's it like, mentally to prepare for the G1? For you've never been in it before." And he goes, "Well, this year we're not having the tags because of COVID to set up to the night of the person you're wrestling. It's you wrestle, you have a day off or two, and then you're wrestling that next person the next night." And he goes, "And it's just gonna be, but it's just gonna be like this: they're tight, clean shows." In and out, getting your wrestling in, watching them done, and I mean, they're doing some great stuff. Yeah, no preview tags, just in and out. You're wrestling the guy you're supposed to wrestle. Good stuff. It really is, and so it's different in the sense of it won't be as grueling for the guys this year, but at the same time, still you're wrestling so many matches in a period of time. I don't care who you are. You got 2 days to recover after taking a hell of a beating. You're still gonna feel that by the time you come in the next day. So
also means there's no filler. Like I always feel sometimes those preview tag matches are a bit of filler. I'm like, nah, I just want tournament.
Right.
Like I like the occasion. It's like probably because I'm brought up on tournament football and things like that. I just love how they just get stuck into it. And every match day, every competition day has a bit of something to it. You don't have to have them wrestle every day, as you say. So when you get to the next company, you're excited. There's anticipation behind it. It's like there's stakes behind it.
Right.
It's also like I
know the reason why they do that though, because they're traveling. Everybody's traveling together, so you have those preview matches to keep them loose and to keep them going. So they're not sitting. And somebody gets to still at least see Tanahashi on the show or Okada on the show. I get why they do it. But honestly, the last 2 years without it, I'm liking it a lot more because it tightens it up and it makes you're watching
a cleaner format.
Clean, good wrestling. Really.
Yeah. That's all you want from that there. Just to kind of go back to the original point is before we got to the New Japan. Is the Long Island show, Raw and Dynamite, within the space of like 2 weeks, they're going to be in the same building. Dynamite has
isn't it like a week? There's like a week between them?
I think it's like the Monday, the Raw's first, then it's Dynamite 10 days later. But it should be worth noting as well, Dynamite has a higher capacity booked for that show, probably because the stage isn't as big. So they've got more people they can put in the building. As you said, 75% of the capacity is sold currently for AEW. Raw, as I'm aware, is sitting at 36. Now, there's ways you can look at this. That was yesterday.
Because, yesterday when I saw it, it was 70 and 36. And so if you're looking at it now, it's 75.
75 and analysts saw it,
Raw hasn't moved at all since yesterday, and AEW's gone up 5% from yesterday. So that to me says a lot right there.
That's what we're saying. Like the standards of the show is like incredible because they're really going for it. Like there will become a time they'll burn this out and they'll have to try and kind of tread the waters a little bit. It'll come to us all. We're on this like creative high. It's just fate creatively, unfortunately. But right now it's a great time to do it, and the momentum's with them for that there. So it's a little bit of that. But at the same time, it's like, man, people are just looking at the options and going, you know what? In the space of 10 days, I'm not going to both. I might as well go to the one I'll look forward to the most. What's going to get me going for it? And Dynamite's the one.
The AEW prices are going to be cheaper.
They're going to be cheaper as well. So that's a big factor as well. We did talk about it on the show leading up to Money in the Bank. It was just excruciatingly different price, like, to the point where like the Raw after Money in the Bank was like $200 just to sit in the cheap seats. No,
no. The Raw after Money in the Bank was $26, but the cheap seats at Money in the Bank were $200.
Yeah, that's where I get mixed up. Money in the Bank with the cheap seats were $200.
Yeah,
and you lose a bit of goodwill with fans with that. So it's a mix of things. Good creative, cheap tickets, signing. Well, yeah, and no. I mean, we've got Jericho and Hager up against American Top Team. That's pretty interesting, I would say. Pretty creative, you know. You're right. They are just bringing in people, and it's big matches after big matches after big matches. But hey, they're getting used. Like CM Punk's getting used pretty good now. I mean, he had his match with Darby Allin, and now he's getting Hobbs and what's his name, Taz's son, Hook. So that's a good thing for them. You know, like they are going to try stuff. So I'll give them their due. So, but it's great to have them in. Now we've got to get them hit the ground running and start working them. You'll get your Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega, but get ready to sit back on Bryan Danielson and Omega again for a while after that one, unless you're Christian. You'll get that there. You cannot pay me enough money to ever see a WWE show these days. Can't fast forward matches like I can at home. Yep. Yeah. Not the. Oh no, I'm totally getting that. But Lambert's the guy though. Lambert is 100% the guy we're feuding with here. The two other guys are there because they are the delegates for wrestling. If it was up to anyone else, Andrei Arlovsky or like Amanda Nunes or what's his plus? I forgot his name already. Street Jesus would have been there. Can't believe I forgot his name. It'll come back to me.
Yeah. You're the MMA guy. I'm not. So.
Yeah, I know. That's what's ruining me. I can't believe his biggest name in MMA for the longest time, and I've totally forgot his name.
Masvidal?
Yeah, Jorge Masvidal. Yeah. So like when Masvidal comes out, like that, the names are there. They're around them. You know, that's how they did the DX and Stone Cold thing. They had Mike Tyson cut about with DX. You know, or Mr. T for the whole Roddy Piper thing. They've done it before. They'll do it again. And it's simple stuff. You know, it's simple stuff. I'm not saying they're the most creative thing, but they're trying things. Yeah. And people are digging it. Unlike Raw, who are trying things and it's shit.
Yeah.
Quite although I tell a lie, actually, there was some good stuff on Raw last week. There's some good stuff on Raw.
Yeah, but I think you know, that too, you have to remember one of the three EVPs is a former WWE guy in Cody. You know, so Cody is gonna he did. He did fall asleep on AEW. But he, you know, Cody is not gonna not sign people that he doesn't know or haven't spent time with in WWE. You know, and of course, you know, Adam Cole. And I know he's referring to Adam Cole being signed, Bryan Danielson being signed. Adam Cole had a relationship with the Bucks before WWE, and he went there. He went there for the money. Let's be honest. He went there for the money.
Yeah. I mean, we've got to bear in mind as well is that WWE's roster was so saturated with talent that by like the laws of just averages, you will have a talent that's been there.
Yeah,
you will have a WWE talent.
Like to me. Signing Bryan Danielson is the biggest of the three. Ruby Soho, okay. CM Punk, okay. But really, to be able to get him to be pulled away from WWE, because you know he was pretty entrenched in WWE for quite a bit, and so it's one of those things. To me, that was the biggest one. The signing Adam Cole. That made sense. You know, Young Buck's best friend, all that kind of stuff. Ruby Soho, okay, whatever. Although it was very funny, you're entitled and you're banging somebody in the back. And then and then of course, you know, Britt Baker came back with her own pretty good shot. No, you weren't really you called yourself the runaway. You didn't run away. You got fired. You know, I mean, it's some good stuff there. You know, I have to admit they're doing some things even with these people though that we didn't see in WWE. You know, that there's a little bit of a more of a slant to them that's like, okay, cool. You know,
I mean, Tay Conti had a great run.
Yeah.
Or Ty Conti, how you pronounce it. She had a great run for a while. You know,
down in NXT, yeah. And then she was working it on AEW. And then but you know, like even with CM Punk, you know, getting the whole Taz thing involved. What, you're taking my job now and getting the guys to come in and, you know, mess them up. I mean, it's cool with that. You know, it's like, you know,
you don't need Punk on a main event feud all the time.
Yeah, being able to have these secondary, that's where I think AEW is really winning the game here, is they have all these secondary stories that are worth wanting to watch, that makes it more where, the title match, Kenny versus Daniel Bryan. Okay, cool, whatever. Or Bryan Danielson, whatever they're calling him. But like, I'm just as interested in the CM Punk Team Taz kind of thing. They're telling a good story there. The American Top Team versus the Inner Circle aspect. That's a good story they're telling right there. We haven't seen MJF in a while, but MJF, and we're starting to see him a little bit with Jungle Boy. Or no, not Jungle Boy.
No, it was Pillman, Brian Pillman Jr.
Brian Pillman Jr. and some of that stuff that they were doing.
I can't believe how like that promo. I don't know if it's an actual thing. But was that a thing with like his promo and Brian Pillman's wife went into labor after or during it? Fucking hell! Like, a part of me thinks that's just fate. Like, that's happened to fate.
It was very funny. Like, I saw a meme. It's like known hottest things in the universe are to generate the most heat in the universe, and it was like the Earth's core at this much, the sun at this much, some kind of massive sun or whatever, and then it says MJF. And
Ohio. Mid. I was like, I'll have a chuckle at that. Chuckle.
I will definitely try to catch Light the Fuse this week because I'm assuming you're going to be on Light the Fuse this week, Vet.
Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Speaking of Light the Fuse, then we'll tie this whole thing off. We're having a good chat about this here, but Light the Fuse, you will see Light the Fuse part of the Hammy Media Network. If you are following us on YouTube, you'll get to see it on here. I think you do get to see it on here on YouTube live, like you do the Smack Attack. If not, you'll find it on the Hammy Media Patreon page, where all of our shows are going to be presented for free right now until the soon-to-be rebranded Realm Network. So I don't know how to advertise Realm Network when apparently it's going to go through a total name and culture change. So I'll figure that one out because Vince Russo made the announcement of that as we did the Smack Attack last week. So that is changing. So when that does happen, we'll be there, wherever it's going to be called. Currently the Realm Network, so Hammy Media Products will be. But at the moment, present time, don't worry about that now. Just make yourself go to Hammy Media Group on Patreon. It has all our shows, like the Fuse, Smack Attack, the Monday, Friday Locker Rooms, Impact Attack, Next Level Podcast. About 3/4 of that, the Vet's on now.
Yeah,
he's slowly taking over this one. He comes on here now and again as well. He's always coming here. I love it when the Vet comes on here. We'll get him on again soon at some point. But there's so much content on there. With all your wrestling, you get it for free right now, so you don't even have to pay for the Patreon. You just need to go on the page and download the episodes or wherever you like to listen to that there. Thursday Spaceman. I was like reading the Thursday thing. It's the Light the Fuse podcast on Thursday. Yeah, you're correct. So go on there. The Hammy Media Affiliates channel as well. Anywhere you get your podcasts from, on Podbean, Apple, Spotify, wherever, just search for Hammy Media Group. You'll have great podcasts like the Academy podcast, the New Force Order podcast, Suck My Balls, South Park podcast. Looking forward to the next edition of the Academy podcast. I was going to say, I haven't had an email from you yet, have I?
Well, no. We
sorry, I got a bit worried last week.
We were going to record last week, but honestly, if you guys keep him in your thoughts and prayers, Triple D got COVID.
Shit, man.
We were going to record this week, and he's been down and out. And we were going to maybe do Wednesday and record, and we were going to talk about Star Trek Day and all the stuff that got released, and the trailers and the release dates for all the cool stuff that just happened. Yeah. But he's just not feeling up to it. He needs to rest and relax. Having COVID, it's whipping his butt. So just keep him in your thoughts and prayers as he gets over COVID. It's no joke. And so, once he gets back in action, we'll be back recording the latest issue of the Academy and to go over all the stuff that's just been released, because they've released a whole bunch of stuff. In case you didn't know, September 8th was Star Trek Day. That is the premiere of the original series first episode back in 1967. So it's become 55 years officially on that date of Star Trek being in our universe and being on TV and things along those lines. So big day for us, 55 years celebrating lots of really cool things. So, we've got a lot to talk about for when he gets back. So
yeah, it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
Lower Decks came out again. New season of Lower Decks quietly just popped up on Amazon recently.
Well, it's
man.
August 12th. If you listen to the Academy, August 12th was its release date.
Yeah, it was.
Gee, producer, way to pay attention there.
Come on now.
So, and if you're not watching Lower Decks, it's easily one of the best Star Trek shows out there because it's if you like Rick and Morty, if you like some of adult humor stuff, it is poking fun at the Star Trek lore and everything along those lines. It's hilarious. It's a blast. Great time just to have some fun. I mean, just watching Riker on the Titan and the 5, 6, 7, 8, and then all the chairs he straddles, they just accentuate that so much.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. So that makes an appearance at the beginning of the second season, and then of course you're back with the Cerritos, and the whole crew's back in there. I'm not going to tell you how it happens, but the whole crew's back on the Cerritos, and it's just a good time watching Mariner and the crew just get after it, and it's a ton of fun. So especially if you like Rick and Morty, it's in the same
realm
animation kind of style. It's good. So good show.
Totally. You'll find that on the Hammy Media feed on anywhere you get your podcast from. That's for free as well. You don't have to pay a single penny for that. You can get all that entertainment and more. There's the Retro Rewind podcast as well, I believe. Radrob's still putting up some content there as well. There's loads of stuff on there, so get involved on that. Yeah, if you want to get involved with us directly, there's many ways. If you watch the show, if you agree with what we said, if you disagree, you want to tell us about it, there's many ways you can do that. You can tweet us at Twitter, on Twitter, Twitter, here, there, everywhere. Tweet, twat. It's at late night here. Down at the bottom on the ticker, at Smack Attack HMG. You can email us directly, smackattackhammymedia@gmail.com. So if you've got more than 120 odd characters, leave us an email there. I'll read them out. We love doing the mailbag segments. We've missed them, so fill up that mail site, and we'll get some comments read out for that there. Also read through the chat. It's been great seeing the chat alive and well as we get through at the tail end of the show. If you are coming in late listening to this, go back to the start listening to this. We did a lot of talking about SmackDown. We talked about the Dark Side of the Ring episode. We talked some NFL. We talked about a lot of stuff. We talk about all things on the show. So we nothing's off the table, as we will have to do for that. Yeah.
We even heard that RVB, he made an appearance, and they were listening in the bar, and he brought around on behalf of the Smack Attack for us. So RVB,
not paying it.
Good job. RVB,
just don't take it in my pocket. But so you can do that. If you want to get involved in other ways, the Facebook group, Hammy Media Discussion Group on Facebook. There's so much stuff that goes on there. There's pick'ems for pay-per-view events, live discussions for every show that goes on, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW shows, Impact, pay-per-views. You want to get involved, chat as the show goes on, there's a place for you there. If you want to just say something, put a comment on there. Just sit in your soapbox, put it out there, and people will comment on it. We all love talking about things like that, so get involved. It's great, a great, fun place to be. Nothing's off the table. And then we've got, what else am I going to say? Where else have I got? Discord. Hammy Media Group on Discord as well. We're on there, so be involved in the group. It's great to have your support. It's great for us to be part of the movement as we move on to bigger and better things as well. So it is a great place to be. Am I missing anything in terms? I'm not missing anything in terms of the.
No.
No.
Of course, normally we would do our mental health moment with Jackson Stone, but we want to also be respectful of our time today. So
so we'll do that. But I will put this here as well. If you are looking for a little bit of help and advice and guidance in terms of your mental health, or you want to help yourself, or you want to help other people, a great place to go is youarelovedlife.com, or follow Jackson Stone's project, You Are Loved Life, at Twitter. Worth the time and effort if you are looking for some guidance and just to help your general well-being and look after yourself. Jackson Stone's got so much information and help covered. So please use that. We did have a big chat about it last week with the Daphne situation. So it's really important for us to know that you're looking after yourself and doing well.
Yeah.
So please do
buy
that.
his merch. It supports a lot of nonprofits, mental health nonprofits. So buy the merch. The merch is going not for his pocket. It's supporting his nonprofit that supports other nonprofits for mental health. So if you want to buy merch with a purpose that you feel good about doing it, buy his merch. He's got some good stuff. There's some good creators that come in and make some great things for him. So and he does limited edition things. So there's not a ton of stuff that's on there for a really long time. So that's a big one. That's a big one. Make sure if you want to buy merch, go support my man Jackson Stone. So
also maybe I will, maybe I won't. Yeah. So you know what? I've got your so I don't care, Canada Spaceman. But what I will say is if you don't rewind this show, you're robbing yourself of prime content and parts of the show that you need to hear. Much like you bring up the Brock Lesnar thing on the plane ride from hell. We talked about that. You'll miss out on our opinions and thoughts on that if you don't rewind this show right now. And that's a lesson to everyone right now. Rewind the show and listen again, because we want we might have your listens now, but you owe it to yourself to listen to the rest. And I think that's a good way to touch off there on that. Yeah. So thanks so much for watching the show. It's been great to have you on. As always, we'll be back again next week to deep dive another episode of SmackDown. Hopefully it's better than what we have. But from myself and from my man John Enright, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next week for another edition of the Smack Attack. Cheery!